Hey there, fellow dreamers, eh? Remember the good old days, when Canadians could actually afford to buy a house? It used to be a core part of the Canadian dream. Work hard, raise a family, and own a little slice of this great nation. Simple, right? Not so much anymore, folks. Survey after survey shows that home ownership remains important to Canadians. However, for many millennials and Gen Z, that dream is slipping away due to a perfect storm of challenges making it harder for them to enter the housing market compared to previous generations. The housing market has gone completely bonkers. Prices are through the roof, and it seems like everyone's getting priced out. So what happened? Did the Canadian dream take a wrong turn somewhere? Let's dive in and find out. We're talking about a serious case of housing fever, and trust me, it's not pretty. We're going to break down the reasons behind this madness, from government policies to foreign investors. We'll hear from the experts and see what the future holds for the Canadian housing market. Buckle up because it's going to be a wild ride.
Okay, let's talk numbers, people. The real estate market is a hot topic these days, and for good reason. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, an investor, or just someone curious about the housing market, understanding the numbers is crucial. So, let's dive in and break it all down. The average home price in Canada is enough to make your jaw drop. We're not just talking about a slight increase, we're talking about a significant surge in prices that has left many potential buyers feeling priced out of the market. In cities like Toronto and Vancouver, the cost of owning a home has skyrocketed to levels that were once unimaginable. 10 years ago, in 2014, the Canadian Real Estate Association reported that the average price of a home in Canada was $419,699 Canadian dollars. Fast forward to September 2024, and the national average home price has risen to $713,200 Canadian dollars. This represents an increase of approximately 70%. It makes you wonder, how much has your income grown over this 10-year period? As housing prices surge at a pace far beyond wage growth, the dream of homeownership is becoming increasingly out of reach for many Canadians. This affordability gap is especially pronounced in cities like Toronto and Vancouver, where home prices significantly exceed the national average, placing additional pressure on prospective buyers. The idea of finding an affordable home seems like a distant dream for many. The frustration and disbelief are palpable as people navigate the competitive and often cutthroat real estate market. The high prices are forcing people to get creative with their living arrangements, and some are even considering unconventional options. So, what's driving these insane prices? It's a question on everyone's mind, and the answer isn't as simple as one might think. There are multiple factors at play, each contributing to the overall picture of the housing market. Well, it's a classic case of supply and demand, baby. When there are more people looking to buy homes than there are homes available, prices naturally go up. It's economics 101, but the implications are far-reaching and complex. There's a strong demand for housing in Canada, but not enough supply to meet it. This imbalance fuels a competitive market where buyers are often willing to pay a premium to secure a home. Another major factor is immigration and foreign investment. Canada's commitment to welcoming immigrants is central to its identity, but it also raises demand for housing. In cities like Toronto and Vancouver, which draw high numbers of immigrants and foreign investors, home prices are under even more pressure. Some argue that foreign investments push property values up, making it harder for locals to buy, while others view immigration as vital for Canada's economy and growth. This debate highlights the challenge of balancing economic goals with housing affordability. In such a competitive market, buyers face a sense of urgency, like snapping up concert tickets before they're gone. This fear of missing out can lead people to make quick decisions, often stretching beyond their initial budget. But wait, there's more. The story doesn't end with supply and demand. There are other factors that are adding fuel to the fire, making the situation even more challenging for buyers. Low interest rates have been fueling the fire, making it cheaper for people to borrow money and buy those overpriced homes. When borrowing is cheap, more people are inclined to take out loans, which increases the demand for homes even further. And let's not forget about good old-fashioned speculation. Investors see the rising prices and jump into the market, hoping to make a profit. This speculative buying can drive prices up even more, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Some folks are buying up properties like they're going out of style, hoping to flip them for a profit. This trend of buying, renovating, and selling homes quickly can contribute to the overall increase in home prices, as each sale sets a new benchmark for the market. It's like a real-life game of Monopoly, but with much higher stakes. The real estate market has become a playground for investors, and the consequences are felt by everyday people trying to find a place to call home. The stakes are high and the game is intense, with real financial implications for those involved.
Now, let's talk about the real victims here, first-time home buyers. You know those bright-eyed, bushy-tailed youngsters trying to get their foot in the door? They come armed with dreams, aspirations, and a whole lot of determination. Yeah, they're getting absolutely crushed. The reality of the housing market hits them like a ton of bricks. Imagine saving up for a down payment for years, only to find out that the house you had your eye on just sold for $1 gazillion over asking. Brutal. It's like watching your dreams slip through your fingers. It's like trying to climb Mount Everest with a broken ice pick. Every step forward feels like 2 steps back. The odds are stacked against them. The market is a battlefield and they're armed with nothing but hope and a modest savings account. They're competing with seasoned homeowners, wealthy investors, and even their own parents. It's a David versus Goliath scenario, but without the slingshot. No pressure, Mom and Dad. It's not like your kid's future depends on it or anything. It's enough to make you want to give up and live in a van down by the river. The idea of a simple, nomadic life starts to look pretty appealing, but hey, at least the rent is cheap, right? And the view isn't too bad either. But seriously, folks, this is a real problem. The dream of homeownership is slipping away for many young people. Homeownership is becoming a distant dream for many young Canadians. The barriers to entry are higher than ever. They're delaying major life milestones like getting married and having kids because they simply can't afford a place to live. The ripple effects are profound, and when they do finally manage to scrape together a down payment, they're saddled with crippling mortgage payments that eat up their entire paychecks. Talk about a buzzkill. The financial strain is relentless, leaving little room for anything else. They have to budget meticulously, cutting corners wherever they can. Every dollar is accounted for, and there's no room for error. Sometimes, they settle for less than ideal homes, hoping to fix them up over time. But even that comes with its own set of challenges and expenses. Renovations are costly and time-consuming. It's a labor of love, but it can also be a source of stress and frustration. Some young adults are exploring alternative housing options such as tiny homes, co-living spaces, or even moving back in with their parents. While these solutions show creativity, they're often not ideal. A 2021 Statistics Canada report found that 35.1% of adults aged 20 to 34 lived with at least one parent, up from 30.6% in 2001. Additionally, the 2022 Canadian Social Survey revealed that youth were 60% more likely than older adults to report being very concerned about affording shelter. These options can offer some relief, but they also come with their own set of compromises and limitations. Despite all the challenges, many first-time buyers remain hopeful. They hold on to the belief that one day they'll find a place to call their own. And when they do finally succeed, the sense of accomplishment is unparalleled. It's a hard-fought victory, but it's worth it. The journey may be tough, but the reward is a place to call home, a place where they can build their future and create lasting memories. In the end, it's not just about owning a house, it's about creating a home, a sanctuary where they can thrive and grow. So here's to the first-time buyers. May their dreams of homeownership become a reality, and may they find joy and fulfillment in their new homes, because at the end of the day, everyone deserves a place to call home.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room: the government. It's no secret that housing affordability has become a major issue, and everyone is looking to the government for answers. They've tried to cool down the housing market with a bunch of policies and programs. From tax incentives to new regulations, the government has thrown everything but the kitchen sink at the problem. But are they actually helping, or are they just making things worse? Many people are left scratching their heads, wondering if these measures are effective or just political theatre. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The more they try to intervene, the more complicated and convoluted the market seems to become. We've got things like the mortgage stress test, which was introduced to ensure that people can actually afford their mortgages. The idea is to prevent a financial crisis, by making sure borrowers aren't overextending themselves. In theory, it sounds like a responsible move. After all, nobody wants a repeat of the 2008 financial crisis, right? Sounds good in theory, right? But in practice, it's a different story. Critics argue that the stress test is too stringent and is actually locking out first-time homebuyers from the market. But some argue that it's actually making it harder for first-time buyers to qualify for a loan. Imagine being ready to take the plunge into homeownership, only to find out you can't even get your foot in the door. It's like giving someone a swimming test before they can even get in the pool. The barriers to entry are so high that many potential buyers are left treading water. And then there are the foreign buyer taxes, designed to discourage those pesky international investors from gobbling up all the properties. The idea is to make it less attractive for foreign buyers to invest in local real estate, thereby freeing up more homes for local residents. But some say it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the massive demand. The housing market is so hot that even with these taxes, properties are still being snapped up at record speeds. It's like trying to stop a tsunami with a sandcastle. The measures may slow things down a bit, but they are far from a comprehensive solution. So, is the government part of the solution or part of the problem? It's a question that doesn't have an easy answer. On one hand, their efforts show that they are aware of the issue and are trying to address it. It's a tough one, folks. The policies are well-intentioned, but the execution often leaves much to be desired. The complexity of the housing market means that there are no quick fixes. But one thing's for sure, they need to do something, and fast. The longer the government takes to find effective solutions, the more people will struggle to find affordable housing. It's a race against time, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The dream of homeownership is slipping away for many, and it's up to the government to turn the tide. Whether it's through better policies, more affordable housing projects, or innovative solutions, action is needed now more than ever. The future of housing depends on the decisions made today. Will the government rise to the challenge, or will they continue to be part of the problem? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, the status quo is not an option. The public is watching, and they are demanding change. The pressure is on, and the government must act decisively to ensure that everyone has a fair shot at owning a home. In the end, it's about more than just policies and programs. It's about people's lives, their dreams, and their futures. The government has the power to make a difference, but the question remains, will they? Help or hype? The answer lies in the actions taken and the results achieved. Let's hope for the sake of all aspiring homeowners that it's the former. Is the Canadian dream of homeownership slipping away? For many, it might feel like it, but maybe it's just evolving. The dream looks different now, especially for younger Canadians who are reconsidering what's realistic in today's housing market. What about you? Do you believe homeownership is still within reach in Canada? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this video offered valuable insights, don't forget to like and support the channel by hitting subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.